Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so we're going to call the meeting to order. And first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. If everybody wants to look that over, and
So moved.
Second.
just 1 second. What we talked about this afternoon, where I text you, can you throw that in somewhere there, text you? Gotcha. Okay. I was thinking about adding something, but we don't need to add anything. We're going to handle it. So I have a motion and a second. It was to my left.
I made the motion. You made the second.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So we have the agenda, and we need to take a look at the approval of the minutes, and you'll see there's 4, 2 closed and 2 regulars. And seemed like we might have somebody that wasn't at some of the meetings, but if they weren't, they'll speak up, I'm sure.
I need to recuse myself, Mr. Chairman,
From all or any part?
from the last meeting.
Okay. Did you catch that, Lisa? Okay. All right, what's the pleasure of the board on these minutes? Okay, got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any last questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to that? Minutes are approved. That'll carry us in, I'm sorry? That'll carry us into the no action, and that would be Mr. Stan, if he wants to breeze through the, oh, okay, got 2 updates, 2 on it. The first one is just the ongoing list, correct?
Ongoing list.
Okay, so the first one is the one that we need of the 2 that we need to
Yes, and then the second page is just your general
Okay,
line sheet item.
all right, I'll let you just run through them, because I think we've seen some of these, but you just want to run through them right quick.
Thank you. I'll give you an update. Washington High School concession stand, we have purchased infrared heaters to heat it for this coming winter. The items were purchased at $2,012.89 from Granger's, and we had budgeted $5,000.
Stan, is that going in, they have 2 concession stands?
In the main concession stand is what we had money allocated for.
Okay, I was
Yes.
just
Yes, ma'am.
wondering, I didn't know.
Yep. Antford gas heater for plant operations shop, it has been purchased, again from Granger under state contract, and it was $1,666.90, and we had $2,000 budgeted. Southside track erosion project has been completed by Sinclair Trucking. The grass is up, looks very well. Work has been completed. We had much rain over the last 2 weeks, had a bunch of rain yesterday, and I just came from out there, and we had a few little erosion things around the catch basins, and Mr. Sinclair's, I called him, and he said he would go out and address those.
And why did you say that was such a big cut, Stan,
What's your big?
in the budget, from the budget, the bid for the budget?
It's just the way our bids came in. Once we put it out for bid to him, they just came that low under. He was the low bid.
He was,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
And originally, we'd figured the 197 loads, and we just got a ballpark from them, and that's what, and it was actually from another company. It was from B. Singleton, I think we got the original price from. Eastern Elementary Fire Lane has been completed and inspected by the City Fire Marshal. The project was completed by Dudley Landscaping. We already have grass up in the disturbed areas, and the project did not go with any change orders as completed as bid, $24,500. Southside heating coil has been received from Brady Parts of Wilmington at a cost of $958.62. We had budgeted $3,800. And the reason for that is we had a budgeted price of them installing it, and then once we got looking at it, was something we could do in-house. So we're taking the outside cost out of it. Installation of the windows in the 100 building at Chocowinity Middle School has been completed by Glass Tech. Emergency windows have been changed out, and the final payments being processed. Came in at $30,150, and we had budgeted $32,000. Eastern Elementary multi-purpose building was actually had our final inspections yesterday. Everything passed. We have a conditional CO, I think, in place from the city, and that's in part of the air-conditioned diffusers came in wrong, and the bathroom doors showed up wrong, and they are supposed to be corrected. And this afternoon, I had to get a chance to check back with them and see, but that was the 2 conditions of our conditional CO. Other than that, it's on, and we will have another final walkthrough inspection with MHA Works, Chesson, and the school system, just as a final punch out again Wednesday week.
They got the sewer tie-in done?
That final tie-in is going to be done the 20th. To change out the 110 pump to a 220 pump, but it's all the rough ends there, electrical's there, just a fact of electrical connection and one plumbing connection, and it'll be completed.
So the bathrooms aren't usable yet?
Yes, sir. Everything's, our pump's taking care of it.
Oh,
We
okay.
tested the small pump that we had, but the engineer that did that spec'd a bigger pump.
Okay.
So, but the little pump we have in there currently, the 110 pump, or it's actually a 220 pump, is working and handling.
Okay.
The chairs for Eastern Elementary multi-purpose building is scheduled for delivery tomorrow, 8 a.m. We will have those in place. Southside's gym and band room soundproofing. Lost my place. Materials have been ordered. This will be done by PC Sound of Washington over the summer break. Washington High School's administration HVAC has been ordered. They are planning to be done the third week of June. This will be done by Robertson's Heating and Air Conditioning of Washington. Bath Elementary awning is actually in progress. They started yesterday. Got probably half of it up. I was doing there earlier lunch today. Work being done by Tyndall's Home Improvements. PO has been issued to GW Walker for the installation of the awning at Chocowinty Primary School. Connecting the 200 over to the gym. This will be done over the summer break. Washington High School bleachers have been ordered, and we're waiting on a delivery date. I did get an email back from them yesterday, and they said 4 to 6 weeks, and then as far as delivery, and then they would get with me with the installation date. That was after I did this report. Northside High School agriculture room HVAC has been ordered, and that's by Air Solutions of Washington, and it will be done over the summer break. I have not got a delivery date yet. Southside classroom G132, 152 VCT has been ordered and will be installed over the summer break, and he said probably the second week of July. Northeast Elementary Center purchase order has been placed, and I spoke to Mr. Walker, and they're actually picking out colors, and it will be done over the summer break also. And then I have one other to add that's not on the list, just to make you a FYI. Southside High School's cafeteria exterior windows. We have some of the same problem we had with the cupola windows in the top, and Dale pointed out to us down at the bottom, the foundation appears to be in good shape, but once they put the foundation in, then they used a filler board, and then they put the windows on top of it, and that filler board is just, it's swelling up. I took some pictures, but Miss Lisa didn't have time to get them added so y'all could actually see them, but that storefront's gonna have to come out of that whole cafeteria and correct the fiberboard and then put back. Currently, we do not have any damage to the actual metal or the glass. It can be put back, but there will be some masonry work. At the very bottom, there's a brick turning at a 45 degree that's going to have to come out and be put back. So, and that was not a capital project, but it's something that was going to have to be done in the 16-17.
All right, can you get us a plan together?
Yes, sir, that's what I'm start working on. Yes, sir.
Is that gonna be done in-house?
No, ma'am, it's probably a 65 to 70-foot glass wall that's got to be taken down, and we have to build a temporary wall inside to secure the facility, and that's taken out and repaired and then put back, so just want to make you all aware of it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Now, I was just looking over the ongoing capital list. That makes a pretty big dent in it, so.
We got like 5 more that's coming in this Friday, bids.
Okay, I was trying to see, was there anything big on here, but I can't look at it quick
Yeah.
enough to see, but.
We're supposed to receive bids on Chocowinty Middle School ceiling, cafeteria ceiling, north side tile replacement, the cafeteria, rooms 201, 203, 202, 203, 103, and 101. Snowden's floor tile in the gym, bathrooms, and Snowden's 2-room ceiling tile replacement. And then the Washington High School front main entrance, we should expect all those in this Friday.
Yeah, I see the line. She's included a line that says bids went out. I saw them on the site.
Yeah,
so I
she
knew
broke
they
it
were
up by
out.
completed
Okay.
and put them down at the bottom to get them out of our way, so we
Gotcha.
other completed projects and
Okay.
the ones that will be in, and then the ones we're working on. So she split it up in 3.
Any questions?
you're not gonna have to add any more concrete to the pad at Washington High School for those new bleachers, are you?
No, sir. The
I know
carpentry
before-
shop had done that before, and we've been rotating the bleachers between the two.
Right.
So it's ready for them to sit on.
It's just got-
And then if they make playoffs again, we'll move one set of the baseballs over to meet the compliance, and we can move the second set and sit on the grass if we have to, if they
Gotcha.
make playoffs again.
We should have bought them bleachers years ago when we had the chance, but other leadership of the board did not want that at the time, so anyway. it's-
The cement is in
Other
place for the
leadership of
future.
board, Not this leader.
No, but I was part of it, but I
about me
wanted
too,
to.
Matt.
Yeah, I know,
But
but
you just
you know
want-
who, the guilty ones know who they are.
You were just a vote,
was-
though, right, Matt?
wasn't me.
Just a vote.
It wasn't me.
I want to mention
Wasn't me, I'm gonna do
that
it.
we have tried to tweak the bid process, and we've had several projects that have come in the last month or so with the new procedure that we're using. But we've also put that invitation out for anybody local that is, or really anybody that wants to be a part of the bidders network. We've got that on the website now, if somebody on camera sees that and would like to be a part of it. Lisa's had a couple calls from folks who've never bid before that are asking questions, and we feel like the more folks we get involved, we can keep things local where that's possible.
That's good.
We certainly want to go for the best quality at the best price, but we also feel like we have better prices when we have more competition in the bid process. So we're excited about that, and we've got it up and rolling now.
I am too.
Works that way.
Yep. And also, as another note, Eastern Elementary's enclosure,
Right.
pods 1, 2, and 3. Architects were here yesterday again, doing their final preliminary drawings to try to get it done, being we were 4 weeks behind on signing our contract or getting it pushed through to get signed. That's put it back, but they still think they can make the window work where we can have it completed for opening day of school, so.
Right.
Sounds
Let's
good.
stay
We
behind
talked
them on
with
that.
them,
Yeah,
Well,
I want to see them make that happen.
yeah, me too.
well, we'll see, I mean, we know the contract is finally signed with MHA, because I signed the contract, so we've made some progress anyway.
I was
Go
gonna, do you mind?
No.
Ms. Harrell, on all of these jobs so far, we've had very few that have, a few have run over, but not many. Are we doing all right on the allocated funds that are set aside for these projects that are not quite completed?
Yeah, you have, between what you spent over and under, you have approximately $200,000. That's what you refer to as your fund balance. Now, anything that's just in the bid stage, that you've just got bids on, that you really haven't started into the project, that doesn't, even if it came under, I don't include that.
Right.
But you approximately.
But we've done all right, so we haven't gone beyond what we allocated, was my main thing.
Not anything that's current ongoing. You know, when you start talking about the Eastern multipurpose room and at the beginning of that kind of thing. But since that, everything's been relatively in line.
Good, good.
Yeah, she kind of stole my thunder there. I just made a note while he was talking to ask you, by the next meeting, give us an update kind of where we at on fund balance.
Okay.
Because with the current situation on our 16-17 capital outlay, we're going to probably need to know what that number is real soon. Okay.
All right, thank you.
That's fine. And if you want the F5, we can do this during our break. The pictures for Southside he mentioned are on here now, so. Okay, that'll take us into our first action item, and Miss Wendy comes up first, according to my sheet. CTE local plan.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm coming once again this year. We do this every year to get the approval for our local plan for our career and technical education. I just wanted to give you a brief update. You have some documents in your board notes and things, but I didn't want to take up too much time tonight. Basically, career and technical education in Beaufort County we employ approximately 36 teachers and other staff in our school system for about $2.2 million. Those are state dollars. We also have approximately $100,000 in state program money that we utilize to support our programs, and then approximately $100,000 in federal funds that come to us each year. And we have made credentialing a big part of our career and technical education program because we understand that our relationship with our industry and putting out workers for our workforce is extremely important to our local economy as well as our state economy. And last year we had 1,534 industry credentials done across our high schools, and with an 81% proficiency rating for those who, all of those who took those credentials. So we are real proud of that. We also had 51 regional and state contest winners and officers in our career and technical education organizations that we also support through our funds. And we also work closely in conjunction with the Governor's Innovation Grant. A lot of our academies that we have implemented work in conjunction with CTE. Our public safety at Southside is one of those. And then this year we implemented automotive back at Northside High School, which has gone very well. And then this coming up year, we are looking at a visual and performing arts and industrial design program that is heading us more towards the STEM activities and a pipeline of people who can have that Adobe credential. We're working closely with our art teachers and trying to integrate some of that with our industrial design so that they can achieve those credentials as well. And that's our aim for the next couple of years at Washington High School. Finally, we're working on increasing our internships with our businesses. We've really made working with our businesses and our economic development folks an emphasis this year and plan to continue with that because it is so extremely important that we do put out potential workers for our economy that give us a leg up and can draw industry into our area. We also are working real closely with the rest of our curriculum staff on the GRAD project. You might recall that's the Graduates Ready and Digitally Driven. It is a program in grades 6 through 12 where we are working on career development plans beginning in the 6th grade. And it includes many of the things I've already talked about, plus things like a personal finance class and various other things to try to keep these children looking towards college and career and having them ready to exit high school so that they are ready to enter our workforce and or college for that purpose. And then we do participate actively with our Ag Expo that the school system and Farm Bureau has sponsored for the last few years and hope to expand that even more this upcoming year. Those are just some highlights from our program, and I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have concerning it.
Now, I was just going to mention actually the presentation that's attached here. If you have a chance, if you haven't looked through it, there's a couple of embedded videos in there, and I looked at those. They were really, really nice.
Yes, sir. We have tried to show that to as many people as possible. We've had some public meetings and things and shared it with as many people as possible, but I thought it was a bit long to share in its entirety here tonight.
That's fine.
Question on your internships, do you go out, or who goes out to double check to make sure the students are where they're supposed to be? And
Our CDCs, which are career development coordinators, which are part of our guidance teams at each of our high schools, that's their responsibility to go and visit the students at their jobs and also to assist if they perhaps need to find a job. And we are trying to refine that process in many ways. Our career development coordinators often teach as well, so they have multiple responsibilities, and they also do all of the testing for career and technical education at the school. So that is part of their job. They are also serve as our special POPs coordinator, which includes a lot of what you might call special POPs, but also things like if we have females in male-dominated careers. So we have lots of different, what we call special POPs in CTE.
I have a question about the visual performing arts and industrial design that you want to get going, which sounds great. And that's going to be fed through the P.S. Jones program that they have going on. When you say arts teachers, I'm not asking for names, but I mean, in what area of the arts program would those teachers come from?
Well, we are working with some of our visual arts teachers And they are actually anxious. They're already teaching many of the Adobe
That's what I thought.
skills and utilizing programs that are free. What we are trying to do is actually get them certified as CTE, not to place them under the CTE umbrella necessarily, but as students get into those upper level courses, that they can attain those credentials under those teachers.
That's what I was hoping, yeah. Because I knew some of them were already doing this to a certain degree, but they're not getting any credentials right now. Is that
Exactly.
right?
We want to be able to give those students those industry credentials and try to help support some of that with our CTE funds when we can do
Yeah, it's
that.
been really successful at PS Jones, hasn't it?
Yes, ma'am. We have worked closely with our Governor's Innovation Grant and PS Jones PTO and Miss Nixon over there to implement the digital art to try to get the students interested, as well as with Ms. Whitehead teaching our technology and STEM classes over at PS Jones has been quite successful this year.
And if you haven't had a chance, but you're ever over at PS Jones and got a couple of minutes spare, if you'll go down and look at the art lab, you'll be impressed. I was over there not a couple of weeks ago. And,
It was a very
it's pretty nice.
integrated effort on many parts, from curriculum to, like I said, their PTO to Ms. Nixon. We kind of hodgepodge some funds together to be able to make that happen.
So why do all the kids stand at the computers rather than sit down at the desk?
Well, one, health benefit, but
Okay.
also it just gives them some different ways to be able to operate around the classroom, because often in digital art, they need to be moving around and it kind of gets more in the way than
I was more kidding, because it is a good feel to it, the way it was set up, and everything ties back to the main, and I like that. It was
Paul
nice.
Huggins really helped
Yep.
us design that. We all, like I said, it was a very integrated effort from many, many parts there.
Okay. And once you go to the presentation, you can all the way through it, but particularly what we're talking about is page 16, and it starts running through. You can see all the details of the plan she's talking about and all. But you just need for us tonight
An approval
basically an
so we
approval
can
to
get our
continue-
money next
to
year.
continue the CT program and get the money for it.
Yes, sir.
It's all-
Yes, sir.
It always comes down to money.
Well, when they're giving it away, then, we
Second.
want to take it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Did you catch that, Lisa?
Yes, sir.
Any last questions from Ms. Petaway? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed this? I can't imagine, but
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
thank you for all you're doing, especially all those workforce development meetings you go to. And I've been to a couple of those. They're real exciting. So that brings us to, I hope certain people aren't watching this. Mr. Singleton, would you like to share your ideas with us on Title I?
If you have bad news, sit down.
You've been working hard.
Uh-oh.
He doesn't know
Well,
the
I
bad
do.
news. No
But I'll
bad
share
news.
some good news with you
There's
first.
Thank you.
I know as board members, sometimes when a parent talks to you, it's not always good news, but we're talking about CTE. My oldest son is at Washington High School, and he's a college track student. He is now taking 5 CTE classes. CTE is not just for kids that don't go to college anymore. Hey, it's been a very worthwhile experience. He's taken drafting and some construction, because that's the type of, he wants to go into construction management. He's benefited from that. One of my younger sons has been in the STEM class at PS Jones. He's benefited from that. So there's a lot of good things going on in that program. So there's a good parent comment for you too.
And I know there are some
Start off.
universities now that when they're trying to get teacher assistants, it used to always be grad students, but that's not the case so much anymore. They're using some of these students that have those credentials. So I think that's a wonderful thing.
It is a good program. Okay, Title I for 2016-17. I will start off with the bad news. Actually, let me back up a little bit. I met with you in January. We talked a little bit about the allocation and what we had received in 15-16 and what we might receive in 16-17. We were cut about $33,000. We had anticipated that could possibly happen because of the decline in population in the county as a whole. What has happened in Beaufort County and continues to happen is the population, not the percentage, but the population of 5 to 17-year-old children who are considered impoverished by the Census Bureau continues to go down. The percentage is still there, it's just we're losing overall people, and that's where your funding is generated from. This application that I submitted to you for approval this evening It does several things. First of all, it maintains funding for the 7 traditional elementary schools as we've done in the past. We talked in January again about possibly looking at 1 or 2 of the middle schools. The directive that I had from you at that time was that if we had a significant increase and that we thought we could possibly do that without affecting staff at the schools, to look at trying to do that. Obviously, we had a decrease, so in order to keep what we have, we had to find a way to make some cuts to keep what we had going on. So it does provide funding for the 7 elementary schools. We have made up for the shortfall by doing several things. First of all, in our pre-K program, the Title I pre-K program is just one of 3 in the county. We also have an exceptional children's pre-K program, as well as the program known as NC Pre-K or More 4. We have moved some of our pre-K staff that are at a higher level of experience into some of those other programs to try to reduce some of the burden on Title I. In addition, the majority of the cuts that we made to the program were in administrative cost. On your board docs packet, we do have the set-asides. You can reserve up to 12% for administration. This budget only reserves about 10.7% for administration, so we were able to make some cuts there. In looking at the first page of the set-asides, you'll notice that we have proposed to invest $10,000 of our $2.23 million allocation into our Title I focus school, which is John Small Elementary. You may remember from our meeting in January, I explained that John Small was in focus school status because of the fact that there is a significant difference in the achievement level between a couple of their subgroups at the school. There is an achievement gap there, and the group that we struggle with at John Small is our students with disabilities. And across the state, every focus school, that is the group that they seem to struggle with. So we have allocated some funds at the district level to be used to assist with that, and there will be a team of individuals at the district level led by Dr. Phipps, myself, and Ms. Lilly in the curriculum department, working with the principal at John Small to make decisions on how those funds will be used, but it will be made at the district level. There is a 1% required allocation for parent involvement, and that is required every year in the budget, and that goes to various parent involvement activities at the 7 Title I schools, and decisions about that will be made by those school improvement teams. There is a $10,000 set aside for homeless children under the McKinney-Vento Act. We have 39 students currently who are homeless who are in the 7 non-Title I schools, and the law requires that we set aside an amount comparable to what students in a Title I school would have if they were homeless, and that is specifically set aside there. Then again, you see preschool, the $409,000 allocation there. The next one, and I'll come back to a meeting that we had in this room just a couple of months ago, and several points were made about trying to align instructional efforts across the district. And from what you were saying at that meeting there, sometimes you had concerns from some parents that one school might be doing this or another school might be doing something different. And it kind of, as a district, puts us on the spot. It says, why aren't we aligning our efforts and doing the same things? What we have done is we have set aside $55,000 there. And that is specifically for various instructional programs. And again, those would be decisions that would be made at the district level. And by those decisions being made at the district level, led by Dr. Phipps and the curriculum folks, they would be able to align those efforts so that people in the elementary grades, for lack of a better word, are doing the same thing. So I heard what you were saying there. We spoke about it after the meeting. We agreed to find the dollars to put that there. You do see a set aside for unbudgeted reserve to carry into 2017-18. Every year we have to set aside enough funds to cover the first 3 months of the new state fiscal year. That is because the federal government does not send our first allocation down in Title I until October. So what we annually have to do is we annually try to put as much as we can into unbudgeted reserve to equal what we think our carryover will be, and those funds generally just they wash out, but we have to do that to meet those first 3 months. Basically, when we cover everything at the district level and with the carryover that I've predicted that we have, and I'll be working with Ms. Harold in the next couple of weeks to shore that up and bring it to an exact figure, I anticipate allocating to the 7 schools approximately $1.342 million. If you take a look at the second page, you will see those 7 schools, how those funds are allocated. It's actually easier if we start at the bottom at the lowest school. Bath Elementary, historically, because of its poverty level being the lowest in the district, We have funded it at the per pupil allocation minimum amount. You'll notice then at the highest level is S.W. Snowden. We have traditionally funded it at the highest amount, not because of the fact that it has the highest percentage necessarily, but because of the number of, or excuse me, not because of the number of children that it has that are impoverished, but because it has the highest percentage. And then in the middle we have those other schools that are funded at what we would call the base allocation. Let me tell you what this does. What this allows us to do at Northeast, Chocowinity, John Small, Taylor, and Eastern. Northeast is the least impoverished of those schools. If we allocate the $182,000 of them, that will allow them to maintain all staffing that they currently have through Title I at the current levels at that school. And anything that they needed as far as instructional supplies and programs and things, that would come from that set aside on the previous page. Snowden, the same thing. By allocating them at a $620 amount, we'll be able to maintain the two Title I teachers that we have there. This is probably the most difficult budget that I've had to work on with Title I in the last 6 years with the decrease. There were several things that y'all had said to me. Number one, a couple of you specifically speak to me about preschool, and I've found a way to maintain that. In addition, I found a way to have that set aside for instructional supplies so Dr. Phipps and the curriculum department can align those efforts. And number three, we found a way to maintain all the current staff that we have without any cuts to Title I. But it would be nice if we had had an increase. It would. I'll take any questions you have.
Do you think that you would need $55,000 to do that district-wide? I mean,
We'll need a lot more than 50.
I was going to say, is that even enough?
Just getting started, but we got to start somewhere, and that's the
So
first
that'll
piece.
get us started?
We would like to have found a way to put $100,000 in there. If we hadn't been cut to $33,000, we'd have been at 98, so we'd have been pretty close.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I will say this.
But that'll do something.
It will. I think it'll get us started. One thing I want to tell you about this application as well is, I told you in January, the Title I law that used to be known as No Child Left Behind was reauthorized in December as the Every Student Succeeds Act. The 2016 school year is the final year that we will operate under the rules and regulations of the old law as well as the funding formula. We've been told that beginning with the 2017-18 year that the Congress will be appropriating more funds. So even if a district is, losing a little bit of population, if you're increasing it across the board, hopefully we will see an increase in those funds in 2017-18. We've also been told, and no one's really talking about it a whole lot, that there'll be a special new preschool development grant that'll come down from the federal government that year. This program will not actually come from the U.S. Department of Education, but the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services as a separate grant from a separate government entity. If we could apply for that and obtain some funds and some slots in that program, then it's very possible that we could take some of the funds that we're using for Title I preschool and we could move that over to that grant. And that would free up some additional funds in Title I that could be used for these schools, or if it was enough, to maybe even possibly add some other schools like we've talked about. But we have not received any guidance from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services as of yet.
What about training for teachers?
In the past, we were able to do that, but that was one of the things about 3 years ago that we cut. We used to use Title I funds to train and to pay some of the cost of the reading and the math foundations, which actually started as an EC training for EC teachers, but now we use it for all teachers, and it's a really good training. When we cut it from Title I, we eventually put it into Title II and covered it there until we had to start making cuts to maintain the staff we were paying out of Title II. Title II is a different program. It's under the same law, but we've also had cuts there as well. But we simply don't have funds. Now, I will say this. Part of that 55,000 district initiative, part of the initiative for John Small as a focus school, and even part of the allocation that goes to some of these schools could be used to fund some staff development. They could choose to do that. It's just we don't have a district allotment off the top.
Any other questions?
I just want to make a comment. I thank you for what it's done. It's a lot of work.
Well, ultimately, the Board of Education would make it when you approve the application here. But what we do is we have a meeting with stakeholders. We have it every May. We invite all of our principals, community members, parents, and some teachers, and we talk and try to get feedback about how folks would like to see the funds spent. So we start there. I take the information from that. I work with the superintendent and go over things with him, and we put this together, and then we bring it to you.
Greg, how many people work in your program?
As far as in the, give me just a second, I can tell you. I've got it right here.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
What,
fine. I
trying to
should
put
know
you
it
in
right off the top of my head, but it changes. Counting everyone, including the part of my job that I work with at our administrative assistant, preschool coordinator, it's about 35 people. Some of the percentages are off a little, but I'll be more than glad to go through this and give you an entire number. I will tell you that the majority of the federally paid positions in the district are in Title I. Dr. Phipps, I had sent you something a while back about federal positions. I think it was overall when you put Title I, Title II, the one person in Title III, and the EC, I think it was like 67 overall. So it's roughly probably a little bit more than half of the federally paid positions that we have. And it would be difficult to do what we do without the federal money. It would be.
Thank you.
So, is this the point where you expect me to start complaining like I've done for the last 5 years?
No, it's up to you.
And we're going to make it 6.
That's fine.
I mean, I understand what you have here, but I still don't agree with it, and I won't agree with it until it's changed. But I understand the tactics that not that you use, but the tactics that are used to bring to us and say, but if you do this change, if we try to do something different, we're going to have teachers that lose positions here and move here. But I also don't understand how we back ourselves into a corner where it puts us in a position where we never can try something different. We go from year to year to year, not just this program. There's others that I could give examples to. We go year to year to year, we don't try different things, and yet for somehow we miraculously expect to have different results. And I just don't get it. But I want you to explain one more thing to me one more time.
Sure.
Why do we, and I'm not picking on the school, I'm just looking because of the way it's highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, why do we continue to fund at these levels with Bath, even using your multiplier, has an impoverished level of only 43%.
Right.
When I have a Chakawinity Middle School that gets no funds, that has a much higher percentage than that. And something that I've been told in the past, that I don't see it that way, was that these funds were basically designed for elementary type situations. Okay. Well, most of these, or not most of these, but a lot of these are K-8 schools.
Yes.
So I was doing some reading on the federal website recently, and it said for the latest figures provided, Title I funds, 17% of all Title I funds were used in grades 9 through 12.
You could do that.
And 21% were used in 6 through 8, which if you add the two together means 38% of Title I funds are being used in grades 6 through 12. But yet, I've been hearing that's not what we need to do. I don't get it. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. So we got 43% at Bath, and we are bound to be over to 70, at least 70 to 80 at Chakawinity Middle.
I can
why
tell you,
is it?
hold
And
on.
I understand that what the teachers, but is that the only reason we don't do it? Is because if we try to move the funds around like we saw last year, I saw what he was saying. I agree with you in what you're saying. But we've backed ourselves into that corner because that's the way we started the program out. Now, it's like we're hung into it. We never can change because, well, I don't know why because.
Well, I mean, if y'all were to tell me tonight to, change it and serve only the high schools, I'd have to go back and do
We're not
that.
going to do that.
If you were to tell me just to serve the middle schools, I would do that. If you told me to serve by just an attendance area, some districts will choose just to serve an attendance area. Ultimately, it is your decision.
I mean, I still, you know where I'm coming from.
I do.
I still don't understand why I've got a campus with a 5th grade class in it that doesn't get any money for any help, and yet all across the county I do. And when I look at the recent proficiency on the grade test level, now you don't really talk about something. Let's get into those numbers. When I look at Bath, and they're at 8 of 14 categories, and yet the schools that aren't, the 2 schools, there's only 2 schools now, we're not talking high schools, there's only 2 campuses that are not participating in this. And that is, I know CMS is one, and PS Jones.
Yes, sir.
And when you look at the total, they're only 7 of 17 categories. So they definitely could use the help.
I agree.
But yet we're giving the money to a school that was doing had some of the best scores in the county. to me, it just seems like it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, none at all, but it is what it is. But
Well,
maybe
I
if we
think
get
the
more
thought
money
that's
next
been
year, then
behind
we'll
that-
look at it next year.
And as I told y'all in January, I'd be glad to look at it, but the advice that I had from the board in January was that without a huge increase,
any
they
more
didn't
money.
want to move a lot of folks around or a person to be out of a position. But like I say, ultimately, the decision is yours.
I understand. I appreciate the work you've done, just don't agree with how it's done, but it is what it is. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion
Okay.
to approve.
Do I have a second? Got a motion, a second. Any last questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Thank you, Greg. Thankless task that you have doing that. Appreciate you doing it.
That's fine.
But we love you.
Some of us. Okay, strategic plan.
You've seen this going around since October-ish timeframe, different iterations, and we've gotten quite a bit of feedback from the community. We've had business partners, educators, folks from just generally from the community, administrators, teachers, central services have weighed in, and we've added quite a few strategies that you have a chance to see there. I want this to be, when adopted, whether it's tonight or not, I hope it'll be tonight, but when adopted, this becomes a dynamic document that helps guide the work that we do over the next 5 years. And as I meet with our principals for summer leadership in June and hopefully have some time to work with you all in July, I hope our next 5 years can really zero in on and focus on academics and instructional work that needs to be done in the school district. And you'll see that a lot of that is captured here, and I hope that it captures the students from the first time they set foot in our schools until they graduate, that we're looking at things to help students in whatever their chosen path is. If they want to go in a CTE, career-oriented path, if they want to go to a college or university, that we're doing things from the very beginning of time in school to get them prepared to do that. And you'll see a variety of strategies in 5 years. Some of these may be outdated or certainly will need to be refined. So we'll work on this and adjust it as we go through. I'd like to do at least an annual review of it. But we wanted to put this in front of you. The vision and mission are updated that capture what we've been talking about, the work, a lot of the work that we've been doing. The goals are reflective of the goals from the State Board of Education, and we reworded those to meet the needs that we have in Beaufort County. And then the strategies, some are things that we have in place, and some are goals that we have set for ourselves that we want to put in place. But this is just the beginning point of where we want to go. And I'd like to seek your approval, and we start doing our work with it as early as this month of June when we get principals together at the end of the month.
And Lisa sent this out, a week or so ago, so everybody's had it, look at it, so you should be familiar with it. But you're welcome to ask as many questions as you want.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I think the goals and the strategies are excellent, so good job whoever pulled all this together. I certainly can read the strategies, and some of them will be a lot easier to implement than others. So it's one of those, it's going to take a village. It's going to take a lot more than a village for some of these, but you have to shoot for the stars. And I thank whoever, Dr. Phipps, whoever worked with you in getting this put together. All of these things are important, and some of them, I think, have always been part of, prior to me being on the Board of Education, but when I was a parent within Beaufort County Schools, these are all things that when I've served on different boards that we all thought over the years have been really important. And somehow when, especially in the City of Washington system, you hopscotch to about 4 different schools as you raise your children, and so what you may implement at one school, then when you go to the next school they haven't implemented it, and then because you've left that school it's dropped by the wayside. So I think the important thing in here is once you implement these, whoever is in the leadership capacity at the schools, your faculties and administration, that they keep them going,
Well, our focus is, as you see the logo, the motto is every student, every classroom, every day.
Yeah.
And everyone who's in our school district can play a role to make sure that that happens, and we want to focus on that.
Okay. Any other questions?
I like the part that provided the same school counselor. That is really important.
I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any last questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed to that? Okay. Carries us to a closed session request.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321 and student records under General Statute 115C-402 and 20 U.S. Code 1232G.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in closed session. We're now back in open session, and the first item up is to approve the personnel agenda just reviewed
So moved.
extensively.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's approved. Calendar updates.
You got two things on the sheet there. One is what we're doing right now. The other is the board meeting on June the 28th. We do that at the end of the month so that folks in payroll and all the finance work can be done for the closeout. But we also wanted to let you know about graduation dates, and I know we've sent those out. Ed Tech is having their graduation at the community college on Saturday of this week at 10 o'clock.
Will
What time?
Lisa be sending these out?
We'll send them out. We'll
Okay.
send them
Well,
out
that's
to you.
good, that's good.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Ed Tech at 10 on Saturday. And then Northside High
Is it
School.
10?
They were going to try to move it. I think it's at 10. We'll confirm on
I
that.
got it at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Northside High School is on the 14th, which is next week at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's on the 15th at 7:30, and Southside is on the 16th at 7 p.m. Okay?
Okay. Two moving ups can I ask about? Butch would know this. Bath is at Northside Thursday night
Yes.
at 7:30.
Yep. P.S. Jones is Wednesday night at 6.
Tomorrow night.
CMS is tomorrow
Yeah.
night at 6, and
Bath.
Snowden is
Snowden
1:30.
on Thursday.
Thursday.
1:30? I've got a 1
Well,
p.m. and a 2 p.m. for
They got me
awards.
DJing Thursday
Is it
night,
just
so-
1 o'clock, 1:30 for both?
Be there at 1.
I'll be there early, but I mean,
Be there at 1.
okay.
No, ma'am, for the Bath 8th grade.
I need you, if you would, to look ahead to July, and there are two things I need to ask. We generally only do one meeting in July for a variety of reasons, but we've got that scheduled. We've got a meeting on the 19th. I wanted to ask a question, then go back and look at the meeting date. I need to do an academic retreat with you for a couple hours, and I'd like to do it in July since we only have one meeting, and we do this. That would give us 2 meeting times, but only one formal board meeting. The academic retreat would talk about the academic instruction focus that I want to move forward with, and also the accreditation work that we need to do, and the strategic plan pieces that we've got. I'd like to do that possibly on the 18th, if that would be possible. That's a Monday night, or Monday, whatever time you want to do. We've got a board meeting on the 19th. We could either meet the 18th and the 19th, or we could move that board meeting in July to any other Tuesday, but I'll be out of town on the 12th and the 26th for work I've got to do, so you can meet without me, or if you want to meet on the
The 18th works for me.
18th and 19th.
No, we don't want to meet without you.
So-
Have him in the chair.
Say that again.
That chair ain't been the
Last-
same since.
18th and 19th.
18th and the 19th.
If everybody can do it, we do it the same.
I know what your 5 minutes are like.
Push it. We're gonna hurry up
time-
offense back.
What time on the 18th?
What time works for you all? It's completely up to what you want. 18th.
Yes, I'm walking here by itself.
How long's it gonna take, you said?
Give me 2 hours
2
on that.
hours.
Do you want to do during the day, or you want to do it in the evening? Doesn't make any difference to me.
How about these real,
2 hours.
Well, let's make it a little bit earlier than
how about these working guys? What do y'all think, Butch? When can you get
Are
here?
we talking about doing the board
The
meeting?
later the better.
The board meeting would be on
Well,
Tuesday, the
unless you wanna do it
19th
early in
at
the morning.
5:30.
We're just gonna go ahead and do both of them that week.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
We're gonna be here anyway.
Early.
I mean, I don't want to cut in the middle of the day, and
Yeah.
if we can do it 8 o'clock in the morning or
4 in the
3 or
afternoon.
4 o'clock in the afternoon,
Would
I don't
you-
miss a
could
whole
you do
day of
that?
work.
3, 4 would be fine, yeah.
Pick a time. I don't
4,
care.
5, 6, 7.
4 o'clock?
I should be
Okay,
able
let's
to
do,
do
let's do 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 on that day.
4 on the
I have
18th.
And then on the 19th, we have that at 5:30?
I got it at
4.
5:30.
Okay.
So the 18th,
4 on Monday and 5:30 on Tuesday, right?
yep, and that's it for that
And there
month.
won't be any action on the 18th. It strictly will be a retreat, academic type thing.
Lisa said she'll send it out as a reminder.
Oh,
to
Mark,
us.
I have a list of hires for us.
Anything else?
I'll
Okay,
have you on the
any board
19th for
member
that.
updates?
Academic,
Oh,
is
yes.
that, are you teaching us? Is that?
I'll try.
I just wanted to announce that the school over in Janesville will have its first graduation on
Good deal.
July the 7th, June the 17th, excuse me, June 17th. And we'll be graduating our first 10 students a year ahead of time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They did their 5 years of classwork in 4 years, so.
Smart kids.
So we've had a lot to do. Dr. Phipps has had a lot to do also. We've had to decide on colors for the caps and gowns and decide what kind of diplomas we were gonna have. So we're plowing new ground in Janesville.
First ever.
Good for you.
That's good, man.
The Mavericks will be graduating. That's the Mavericks.
First time I've heard that.
Yeah, that's the school name.
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard that.
Okay, Mr.
Northeast.
Board member
Chair.
updates, you sure can.
Yes.
Move
I will be leaving on Sunday,
Mhm.
going to advocacy conference in DC. I will return on Wednesday. I will be leaving out Thursday morning, going to the legislative committee meeting at the BOD, and I will return from there on Sunday. Want your prayers? Because I'm going to need them while I'm gone, and I'm sure that I will have some information for you. And I would like to say, I was listening to Greg as he talked about the Title I and giving information. Congressman Butterfield spoke with me on Friday, and he said to me that it's a fight. It's really a fight. And we are scrambling and need to scramble harder because they are trying hard to just wipe Title I out completely. Yes, yes. So we want to know, you to know that it's not a plaything anymore. It's just that they doing all they can to try to get rid of public education. So we'll be fighting that at the meeting when I return on Thursday morning for that board meeting. So that's it.
Thank you. Twist
This
any,
week.
twist
Yeah,
any
next
arms
week.
that you can way there.
I will. I do. I got my mouth and I have anything else.
I won't want to say that. Superintendent updates?
Yeah, I wanted to share that I saw today that Washington High School won the Wells Fargo Cup for the Eastern Plains Conference,
Good.
which is the athletic success that they've had. We want to congratulate all the folks that are involved in that, parents, students, the folks, the adults that are there as coaches and helpers. We're just very grateful and proud of the work that all of our students across the county are doing. School does end this week on Thursday. So we had a great graduation at early college, and we're kicking in the graduation season at the other schools and moving up ceremonies, as you've heard. The last thing I need to ask, and I didn't get this clarified, Fieldhouse ribbon cutting and grand opening, we want to do Monday at Washington, but we need a time to do that.
This coming Monday.
What about?
The ribbon cutting at Fieldhouse.
So, the 13th.
13th.
Okay. I don't want to carry these guys out of work again. You're thinking about late in the
We
day?
can wait till Ms. Booth is back.
Oh, you'll be gone.
Please.
Yeah, yes.
Please.
Just
Let's
wait
put that
till
on
she's back.
hold, and we'll come up with
Yeah.
a date.
Yes,
fine.
thank you.
We got
Thank
time.
you.
There's no rush on that. All right,
Okay,
all I
that's
have.
it.
I don't know what our policy is as far as recognizing teams, but the Northside Golf Team won the Eastern Region. They finished 9th in the state, but they were they were 9th in the state in 1A, but the other 8 teams ahead of them were all either charter schools or private schools. So I thought that was a great accomplishment. The Washington High School softball team finished second in the Eastern Regionals. So congratulations to them. Northside softball team went 4th round, but anyway, congratulations to them for a successful season.
Actually, we need to invite some of those to some of our meetings coming
Yeah,
up.
that's what I was.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. We like it when they do well, and we can bring them in here and talk to them.
Yep.
And I think one of the great things about all of these athletes across the county is more than half the time, probably 80% of the time, they're also good academic students. They do learn how to play a sport and make good grades at the same time. So I applaud their parents, the students, their teachers, everybody.
Okay. Ms. P?
This is okay.
That's it?
That's it. I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion, second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.